All right, guys, we're back. We're looking at a pretty classic reaccumulation we're using the BTC Binance contract, the perpetual futures. And here we have the structure. Let me turn off stack coin 3 indicator, which is an SMA and EMA indicator. If you can see, we have this large preliminary support, which kind of held us very nicely. We talked about that in this previous video where we talked about this accumulation. And I'll go over that a little bit later as well. This BC, buying climax, AR, ST, it's all classic looking. I was worried that, this pattern up here, that pattern was showing a very similar signs, except it should have kind of held most likely this 0.236 fib level, but it just kind of collapsed, right? So it wasn't a redistribution or a reaccumulation, but it was kind of creating signs beforehand that it might be. Kind of caught everybody off guard. Anyways, this one's very beautiful. All right, we had a little accumulation at the bottom. Now we're testing this resistance. We created the creek. We're testing this resistance, and this is a huge one, by the way. And this is where the schematic might differ from if you look up reaccumulation schematics. This one might differ a little bit because the weekly EMA is here. It's kind of what dropped us here, then here, and these are massive drops because it's a huge resistance. We've tapped it twice already, so I'm not expecting something crazy again, but we might get a little bounce, maybe something like this, right? Maybe coalescing here a little bit, or we might just break through it, maybe get a little bounce, right? But it's going to do a little bit of coalescing here, unless it just chops through it like butter. If there's a lot of volume, that might happen as well, but I think it'll coalesce a little bit up here. So that's something to look forward to. How do you trade this? Well, I would wait until it passes up here, the weekly EMA, which is at this resistance up here at 45,000 basically. Wait for a retest here. And I say this because the last few times we touched it, we just dumped. So you want to see it sort of coalescing above this if you didn't open a trade down here where we talked about before. You have a lot of chances because the target price for this is very high as well. So that's what we're seeing so far. We're gonna check whether it fulfills it. Let's quickly go over this bad boy down here. Man, let me save this. For whatever reason, TradingView just freezes when I'm using that paint tool. All right, let's do something like this. Right, we talked about this being the selling climax, secondary tests here, a little up thrust to wipe out the liquidity, digs deep into the trading range, makes a lower low, wipes out this liquidity here, and then goes for the spring and it goes out. Now, where it differed, we expected this bounce and then we expected a retest here. What we didn't expect is for it to go down and retest the base. You have to understand this strike down does occur, and you'll see it occur in many instances. It's just usually not this deep, but it can be with these small accumulations, right? So it might have scared people again that created a little long here. Maybe they added more to it here and their entry price is like up here somewhere. They might have gotten a little scared. You'd always use your stop loss underneath the trading range. But unfortunately, this probably wrecked a lot of people that were expecting an easy go. But you have to expect this little drawback. Sometimes it doesn't break back into it, which shows very bullish. Sometimes it does. And when you're on these smaller time frames, I mean, you're talking about an accumulation literally from top to bottom that's 3%, right? This is by no means a large structure. When they're not large, you'll see a little bit more sporadic dumps down. If you look on the daily, right, here is the equivalent place for that massive one earlier in the year, last year, right? And if you look, let's find Coinbase. Yeah, even Coinbase dropped back into the trading range. So it didn't go all the way down here, but again, this is macro structure versus micro. Micros are more volatile in general, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see if we find any other any other type of structures, and we'll let you all know when they're forming so you can make informed decisions and hopefully make some money off of it. I took along, like I said, down here. I added more here. Once it started breaking back into it, I kind of scaled off half of mine, and I made a little bit of profit, but this caught me off guard as well, right? And I still made a little bit of money. I think it was like 3%. So we'll just keep on keeping on.